and welcome to another edition of Full Volume. I'm Alan Lynch, I'm your host. I'm here with Gary. Gary, how are you?
Hello, I'm all right, yeah.
Nice to see you again. Welcome to the September edition. So much to get through on this podcast for this month. It's been an eventful month, even considering that Central Library wasn't actually open. We had a very, very busy month, so much to get through.
You did.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. There's lots of stories for you. But on today's podcast, we're going to talk with Joe in a bit. He called in. He is the curator of Acting Up, which is the exhibition running downstairs, HIV activism. If you haven't had a chance to pop in, it's brilliant. Running till the end of the year. So we'll have a chat with Joe a bit later on. And for this month's branch out, we're staying right here at Central Library because there was so much happening, wasn't there, in July?
Wow,
I know, we were closed for August. But July, the highlight for me was Oasis.
Oasis week. How fantastic was that?
Oh, it was so much fun, wasn't it? I mean, we spoke about this, didn't we, about how a little seed of an idea, which was, why don't we celebrate Oasis, turned into a full week of events. We didn't really plan that, did we?
No.
We didn't sort of say, let's have a full week of events. It just kind of spiraled a little bit. I put together a little package. We got some audio on the day, so we'll hear from the girls. They of course, some sing songs for us. We've got some audio of the string quartet playing as well, and the ukulele group from Stretford. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a chat with Oasis because they're Oasis and they had to run off to another gig.
Yeah.
You know, but I loved how they put the effort in because they practiced a bit, then they went off and came back in another door. Suddenly, it was like stars in your eyes. I just really wished we'd had a smoke machine on the day. Because I was like, we had a smoke machine. Because they just suddenly appeared head to toe looking like Oasis and they strut onto the stage. So fair play to them for playing the part.
All they had on their rider was biscuits, tin biscuits. That's all they wanted. So
wasn't very rock and roll, really, was it? Although I think that's probably all Noel and Liam are having these days, to be honest. When you go past 50, the drugs and the rock and roll.
Well,
gotta leave that behind. Okay, so we'll have a big package including all the highlights from Oasis Day. That'll be coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. And I also met with a chap called Liam. He almost took a job at Central Library, but he's now currently working at Withenshaw, but he's doing his apprenticeship over there. So I had a chat with Liam about how he's finding it, really. And we wanted to kind of dispel some of those maybe myths about doing apprenticeships, because I think people don't really fully understand what they are, do they?
Yeah, and a lot of people really struggle with it. I met Liam one day in Withington, and he's a gentle giant. He's lovely. Yeah,
loveliest man in the world. He gave me some of his time and we had a chat about the apprenticeship. We'll be hearing more from Liam, I think, over the next few weeks because he wants to get involved with the podcast, which is fantastic. But for this episode, we'll chat to him a bit later on about how he's getting on his apprenticeship.
Right.
Okay, so before we kick off, I suppose people know, anybody who listens to the podcast regularly will know we were shut for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. Somebody had the bright idea to distribute all of the staff to all the other libraries. There's 21 libraries, just 26 really if you count some of the ones that are run by volunteers, but we were distributed around the city, and it's fair to say that it was a mixed bag of experiences for people.
A very, very different experience to working in Central Library, I found.
Well, I think I find I'm pretty spoiled. I live 10 minutes away. I love walking to work, especially in the summertime. I admire anybody who does a commute to work now.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to cry. I was at the tram stop a couple of mornings at 8 o'clock going, oh my God, this is what people have to do, you know?
Some days I was having to do a 45-minute walk and I was thinking, this is a hate crime.
Yeah, it is. With our age, it is. We were just talking, on the way down here today, we were talking about how we both currently have cramp in our leg. Can you please have some respect for the 50 pluses? But overall, I had a wonderful experience, I have to say. I spent a lot of time at Withenshaw. I was in Chorlton. I was in Brooklands. I was in Longsight.
Yeah.
I was in Hume, which is my neighbourhood. I'd never worked at Hume Library. So I met some lovely, lovely people. Have to do a shout out to Fiona at Longsight. We're going to interview Fiona in the next few weeks. She's leaving soon. She's worked at libraries for 45 years.
Wow.
And she's retiring this year. So I said, let's do like a retiree interview. So we'll speak with Fiona, lovely lady. Her daughter works at Withenshaw as well. So it's in the family. And of course, we mentioned Liam. I got to meet Liam. And I also got to meet a lovely girl called Isabel. And they're both hoping to get involved with the podcast.
That'd be great, yeah.
Because we need a bit of female energy around here, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of men on this podcast.
To you, Alan.
You'll have to be so honest all the time. You can hold some stuff back. But yeah, lots to get through, like I said. And we are back in City and it's wonderful. I'm really appreciative. I said it to my line manager. I said, I'm not going to complain about anything ever again.
Do you know what? That first Tuesday back, we were so busy because there was so much backlog from the 3 weeks, and it was so fantastic. I loved every minute.
Just to see everybody again. Yeah. You get so attached to people, don't you? And also you get attached to the building because it's such a gorgeous building, and I like knowing what I'm doing. Yeah. And I kind of sometimes felt like I didn't know what I was at, because it's such a different experience to go from, because the Central Library, and the word Central Library is a bit deceiving, isn't it? Because it's an amazing building, and we all know what goes on here, but there's so much happening between the business centre, dedicated music library, the archive section is world class. And, only a small part of it is a library, really, in all honesty. So for us, our days are super varied. We never know whether we're coming or going, and we're all over the building, which is wonderful. Whereby I think there's a lot more structure, isn't there? It's the best way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
It's more structure in the branches.
Yeah. I mean, they do a lot of stuff that we don't do. They're actually trained to help people with universal credit and stuff like that, which is amazing, I thought. But
I did discover there are lots of different events that we don't do here, but they're much more suited to smaller branches, aren't they? And sort of much more intimate.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that throughout the course of the podcast, but I am very glad to be back.
So am I. Really.
I'm very, very glad to be back. Okay, well, let's kick things off. This is September's edition of Full Volume. Now, a treat for those of you who may have missed it. We've been talking about it a lot. Our Oasis Day, our Oasis Week, if you like, culminated with Oasis Day, a full 4 hours of music by some of Manchester's finest artists. We had Canta Semper, we had the Manchester String Quartet, and we had the Stretford Ukulele Group. All come into the building, all give us their interpretations of Oasis classics, because of course Oasis were in town. No need to go on about that anymore. Everybody knows Oasis were in town. And the whole day culminated with an hour-long set from Noasis, who are Britain's tribute Oasis act. So here we go, have a listen to this. I'm here with John from the Manchester String Quartet. John, you've just come off stage. Well, when I say stage, you've come off the balcony. How was today for you?
It was great. I mean, really great to be involved in something like this. The city's been buzzing for the last week. So yeah, to come and play some great songs in the library has been a real pleasure. And the audience were great as well.
The audience are always great here. They're really appreciative. But I was just saying to my colleague how Oasis songs lend themselves so well to the classical treatment, because I think they're so well written, these songs, and there's so much melody in there. So I was transfixed. It was really beautiful. Do you do Oasis songs in your set, or did you guys learn these songs just to come and play here?
Well, we've got about 10 in our repertoire, I think, of Oasis songs from before we did this gig. But like you say, they're great songs. I'm a fan from back in the day. So I've been doing a few of the arrangements myself, and it's been a pleasure to kind of get into the songs and really sort of think about how they put together. And they definitely work for a string quartet.
And tell me, are you going to see Oasis this weekend?
Unfortunately not. But yeah, I did see them at Glastonbury in 2004, so I have seen them.
Well, listen, thank you, John. Enjoy the rest of your day. And the good thing for you is you're finished work at midday, so go and enjoy the rest of your day. Emma, Ruth and Sarah from Canta Semper, thank you very much for taking part in our Oasis Day. How was it for you?
Oh, it was really, really nice, thank you. Yeah, it's just nice to come and be a part, I think, of a lovely event. It felt really nice to have like Manchester community together, and really nice to look out and see people enjoying themselves, and obviously a nice buzz in the city today because of what's going on later. So
It was fantastic. I mean, your voices are really, really beautiful. How long have you been together?
Well, this year we're kind of celebrating our 10th year. We can't really remember when we started. So then we've done a few events this year celebrating 10 years singing together. It's just been a joy. We've had some lovely gigs this year as well, which has been nice for our 10th. Finally, it's starting to happen.
Well, congratulations. And as far as Oasis songs, did you have some in your canon of songs, or did you guys have to rehearse and learn these ones just for a gig?
We did rehearse them. I run a choir, so we've done a few Oasis songs in our time, so I knew a few. And then, we just had a few little jams, haven't we? Singing Oasis songs in Emma's garden. It's been very nice.
That's the beauty of Oasis songs. I think we had a string quartet on earlier, and they really lend themselves, I think, because the musicality. They're quite difficult songs, aren't they, Oasis songs? I think they're a bit underrated on that level, but they really lend themselves to that kind of treatment. Same for you guys as a vocal harmony group. Do you find them easy to perform?
I would say there is some tricky elements to it, but overall, when we rehearse, when we get it all there, it's really tight. It's just so satisfying to do. So there is an element of trickiness, but I think we nailed it,
I think you certainly nailed it, that's for sure. And as for the gigs tonight, are any of you going to Oasis? Have you been, or are you going?
no, not going, unfortunately. But I know, Sarah, your partner's going off to tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, we've had the playlist on this morning. I feel like it's been Oasis Day. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the staff here after today probably won't want to hear another Oasis song just for a little while. Well, listen, thanks so much for coming out, and the best of luck with everything in the future.
Thanks very much for having us. We had a lovely day. Thank you.
Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in a shining below sky. Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide in a shining supernova. There's people believe that gonna get away for the summer. You and I, we live and die. The world's still spinning round. We don't know why.
I am here with James from the Stretford Ukulele Orchestra, and you've just come off stage after playing a gig as part of our Oasis Day. So how did it go for you?
It was great. We had some songs that we play quite regularly and some new ones we haven't done publicly before. So, and everything went fine.
A little bit nerve-wracking about debuting new songs, but you did fantastically well. We had the Manchester String Quartet on before you guys, which led into you. It was a real gear change, but I think the crowd loved it because, I mean, it is unusual, I think, isn't it, having a ukulele band like that? And especially when you're covering songs like Oasis, because they're so revered.
There's those big sing-along choruses. It lifts everybody up, so it lends itself to playing on the ukulele with a big group of people like us,
And in terms of Oasis, then, I mean, it's been fantastic for Manchester, hasn't it, to see the people coming out to support them the way they have done, between merchandise stands and the city has been full of Oasis fans.
Nice for them as a family to be speaking to each other again, isn't it?
Well, I know how they feel. I've got two brothers. It's not always easy. Well, listen, thanks very much for taking part today. We really appreciate it, and all the best for the future. I hope you're all well. Thank you for coming out today. This is the final hour of our Oasis Day. Hope you enjoyed yourself so far. If you're ready to go and rock out for the next hour, we'll bring on Oasis.
She knows it's too late. That's where walking signs away. Don't look back in anger. Don't look back in anger. These hearts
I'm here with Eleanor. Now, Eleanor, you've been to see Oasis on Sunday night, so I asked you to come in and tell us how you got on. But first, tell us a bit of background about yourself. I know your mum, Lynn, she worked here for, if I'm not wrong, it was 42 years.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, wow. That's putting the time in. But listen, Eleanor, I know you're a super Oasis fan. Firstly, did you enjoy our Oasis Day, which we held on Saturday?
And I wanted to start by saying a big congratulations to you for putting it all on. It was really good. I went to 2 events. I went to
really
the John Robb talk on the Tuesday, and then the Oasis, the music day on the Saturday, and they were both really good.
Wonderful success. But listen, for the purposes of today, the reason you've dropped in is to tell us, what was it like? Because I know you went to the last Heaton Park gig. Yeah. The weather didn't play that nice, sadly. But how was the gig? Tell us.
It was really good. It was probably the best gig I've been to.
I've spoken to so many people about this because I love how people are so romantic about Oasis. But I do genuinely feel that the band are as much about emotion as the music. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. People are wrapped up in a kind of time, I think. In the 90s were such an incredibly unique time. Now we look at it. I know the world had lots of problems then. People think it wasn't great in the 90s either. I get that. But in general, I think we didn't have the drama we have going on in the world around us now in the last 10 years, and Trump and everything else, and the world the way it is. I think there's as much as Oasis create as much the excitement of seeing them live is one thing, but they also create real emotion in people, don't they?
Yeah,
I think.
And I think they bring a sense of togetherness to the fans, and I think because they're from a working class background and most of the fans are probably from similar backgrounds, I just think people can relate to them. Even though they're superstars now, rock and roll stars, I do think people can still relate to the Gallaghers. It's just about them, the music, the lyrics, and just being there in that space, listening to those songs played live.
So if you have to pick a highlight from the night, what was it for you? Or was there just too many to mention?
There's just too many. Belting out Stand By Me, Slide Away, The Master Plan. But one of the more peculiar highlights was we got talking to this man and his sister who was stood near us, and the man must have been in his 50s, so he was old generation Oasis fan.
52 over here. Do you mind you calling old generation? Thank you very much.
I said not old. I said old generation.
I'm only kidding.
And right at the end, they let fireworks off after Champagne Supernova, and that was the big finale. And me and him watched the fireworks holding hands.
Oh.
And then the B-sides that they did as well.
I think whoever curated the set list knew what they were doing. They were like, listen,
they are very clever people.
All killer, no filler.
Set list, definitely, But no, an amazing night. And thank you for having me on here.
You're very welcome, Elena. Thank you very much. And please say hello to your mum for me.
I will do. Thank you.
Okay, as promised earlier, let's have a chat with Liam. He's currently doing his apprenticeship at Wythenshawe Library. I had the pleasure of meeting him while we were on our little 3-week excursion, and I sat down with him. I just wanted to find out what it's like to do an apprenticeship within Manchester Library. So let's find out. There has been a lot of talk in the past couple of years about people taking an apprenticeship route rather than going to university. And I do think it's a very valid way of getting, further educating yourself, and a different route to a rather expensive 3 years at university. So we offer apprenticeships here at the library, and I'm here today with Liam. Liam, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Liam. Thank you very much. We're going to talk about apprenticeships because you're finally on one, and it's been quite a journey for you, I think, hasn't it, to this apprenticeship? Because you applied for a job and got it at City a long time ago, but I think the hours didn't really work for you at the time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I've wanted to work for the libraries for a really long time, and I see the vacancies come up occasionally, but they were part-time and I couldn't really support myself with that. So yeah, a few years ago I did get a job, but the part-time hours just didn't work for me. So.
Well, apparently one of our managers has had her eye on you ever since. So I don't know what that means. I don't want to scare you. I won't mention any names, but you're finally here and you've chosen to do your apprenticeship at Wythenshawe. So I'm very familiar with the library and I love this creative space. Well, firstly, tell us why you want to do a library apprenticeship, and then tell us a bit about Wythenshawe.
So yeah, libraries, love them as a user, and I've worked in and out of libraries. So yeah, when the apprenticeship opportunity became available, I was really interested because I don't have any formal qualifications in librarianship or working in libraries necessarily. So, being able to work and train at the same time as part of the job, that was really interesting to me. That was that's a really good perk, I think.
And I think a lot of people probably assume this is the thing about librarians. I'm not a librarian. I work at the library, but I'm not a librarian. And actually most of modern libraries in the world, you'll find a lot of the staff are not librarians now. So I kind of want to make sure people know that you don't need to be a librarian to do an apprenticeship at the library, and you won't become a librarian afterwards, but you will gain a fantastic qualification. How are you finding it here? And tell us a bit about the library you've chosen. You're at Wythenshawe at the minute.
Yeah, so the apprenticeship obviously includes the training, so you get your dedicated time to do that, but actually the most of it is learning on the job, so learning as you go. So a typical day, I might be on the library counter helping customers with inquiries. What's so special about Wythenshawe at the Forum, though, is we have the creative space, which opened last year, and it has a performance space. It has a podcast and music production studio, and basically local members of the community can come in and use it. So if they want to record their own podcasts, they want to do live performances, or if they want to learn things, they can all come in that and do that here in the creative space, which is really cool.
It's a super way to utilize that space. It was a reference library, am I correct? Beforehand, it was a reference library, and now it is a pretty big space. I mean, I've been here. It's great. It's a stage and speakers and sound equipment, and there's 2 podcast studios, which makes me jealous. We only have one in City. So you've got one upmanship on us there. So ideally, are you looking to forge a career within libraries?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I want to learn as much as possible, which by being here at the Forum and Wythenshawe is so good because it's really diverse. You've got the library side with the books and the computers and, just like in most libraries. Then, you've also got the creative space. So I really do want to learn as much as possible, but I'd love to make a career out of it, and work in Manchester libraries for a long time. Just really want to get involved with as much as possible.
I think the wonderful thing about doing an apprenticeship with Manchester libraries is our county is vast, and there are 21. In fact, there's way more. There's a lot of libraries that are run by volunteers, so they don't necessarily fall under the umbrella. But there are 21 libraries within the Manchester City area, and you're not necessarily just confined to one. You can do your apprenticeship at one library, but then really, that county is your oyster, if you will, for lack of a better expression, because I know you talked about maybe coming to work at City and looking at, because City is fantastic in terms of, our huge performance space and our music library and the events we put on. So if someone's into that kind of thing, it's a fantastic base to base yourself from. So you're not necessarily going to be working at the library that you do your apprenticeship at. There is scope then to go off and work in other libraries too. Does that appeal to you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So how the apprenticeship works, it's up to 18 months. And then, you would have a base library for those 18 months, but you would go visit other libraries as well. So you can kind of get a sense for how other libraries work as well within the council. But then, at the end of that 18 months, the apprenticeship automatically changes over to a job. And then, you could go work in another library within Manchester as well.
Yeah. As far as the apprenticeship goes, the scope there for the job to become so much more in the long term.
I think, because obviously you mentioned earlier about, apprenticeships being an alternative to university. Not everyone can commit to 3 years not being paid studying. But then if you do the apprenticeship and you're getting paid the whole time, again, I think that's another kind of misconception. People think apprenticeship wages are really low and under minimum wage, and they're definitely not at Manchester City Council. So you're supporting yourself throughout it, you're getting paid. And then at the end, you can choose projects to be involved with that go towards the apprenticeship. So you can really specialize in certain things if you want to. And then, go on from there and kind of spread what you've learned.
So if you have a creative mind and somebody who feels that that's a field they want to go into, but maybe they think, am I going to be able to do that at a library? Yes, you are. You really are. So any advice then for anybody? What would you say to anyone listening who might be thinking, I want to do an apprenticeship at the library?
I mean, well, go for it, firstly. Advice, I would say library, if you're interested in working in libraries and doing apprenticeship in the libraries, then you already know a bit about what working in a library looks like. Maybe, we do have a lot of books, but it's so much more than that. You're dealing with the public all day, every day. So, customer service and communication skills are really important. But then, just like what you said, bring what's unique to you and what's your passion. And how can you integrate that into the role? Because, maybe it's an activity we do with younger people, or it's an event we put on for older people. It could be anything really. And, I think bringing your unique skill set to the role would really put you at advantage. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Liam, for talking to us. Really appreciate that. That was Liam, who's doing his apprenticeship at Wythenshawe Library. Acting Up tells the story of 40 years of HIV activism in the region through archives, testimonies and films. The exhibition honours the memories of lives lost and continues the fight for a world free of HIV stigma and discrimination. The exhibition is currently playing at Central Library on the ground floor, and it runs until the end of the year, so 31st of December 2025. It was organised by Joe, who works at the George House Trust and curated the exhibition. I had a chat with Joe earlier this year.
So the exhibition is called Acting Up 40 Years of HIV Activism, and it's running at the Central Library in Manchester between April and December 2025, with an extra special bit in the first floor reading room as well. The exhibition is all about Greater Manchester's response to HIV throughout the past 4 decades, focusing particularly on HIV activism. Many people perhaps don't know that Manchester was a really significant hub of HIV activism right from the early days. I work for George House Trust, who's been responsible for putting on the exhibition with funding from the Heritage Lottery Fund. And George House Trust started as Manchester AIDS Line in 1985. So that was a group of 6 gay men that set it up, volunteers coming together to run this voluntary service and provide a phone line to spread information and awareness around the burgeoning pandemic of HIV and AIDS at the time. And that has gone from strength to strength and morphed in the early 90s into George House Trust. And George House Trust has been providing information and support and advocacy services for people living with HIV in Greater Manchester and the North West since then. And significantly, George House Trust turned 40 this year in 2025. So we wanted to do something to preserve the history of the organisation and to make it available to future generations and to Manchester, because it's played a significant role in Manchester's response to HIV, and the fact that we've now catalogued the archive and deposited that at Manchester Archives makes that history available to the public and secures it for future generations as well.
Thank you very much to Joe for popping into us from the George House Trust, and like I said, Acting Up 40 Years of HIV Activism, the exhibition currently showing at Central Library on the ground floor until the 31st of December. Okay, on to our last feature of this month's podcast. Libby Andrew dropped in. She's a former Wallaroo. Now, I'm sounding like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to women's rugby. I really don't. So I left this one to Tom, who is a regular contributor to the podcast, and he's one of our editors. And Tom loves rugby, so I left this one in his capable hands. She popped in to speak to us about her brand new book and about the Women's World Cup, that's currently running at the moment. So let's go over to Tom and hear what Libby had to say.
As you must have noticed, rugby fever is sweeping the nation at the moment, with 2025 Women's Rugby World Cup being hosted right here in England. And just down the road in Salford Community Stadium, we've been blessed with hosting games by 4 of the major contenders so far: Scotland, Wales, Samoa and Australia's Wallaroos, all of whom played in a thrilling opening weekend of fixtures. And I'm delighted to say that we are joined in the studio today by a former Wallaroo and Women's World Cup contender herself, Libby Andrew. Hi Libby.
G'day Tom.
Welcome to the Full Volume podcast, and welcome to Manchester too.
Thank you very much.
How have you been enjoying the city so far?
I love Manchester. There's no doubt about it. Every moment's been great.
So, obviously, the Rugby World Cup is now in full swing, with an emphatic win for the Wallaroos last weekend in Salford, I believe. Mm-hmm. What did you make of the game?
I think the game definitely went to plan. We haven't come over here to lose. So to sort of come out with the burst that we did and show the rest of the world and the other countries that are competing for the Cup that we're here for business, that's exactly what we wanted to do. We sort of journey on to USA this weekend in York, and there's a game plan, and that's to win these first 3 games and to upset the World Cup so that we can take it home.
So you're here, I should say you're here, you're spreading the good word about the amazing Women's Rugby World Cup and encouraging youngsters to get into the game. But take us back to the beginning in New South Wales and Canberra, where you grew up. How did you first get into the sport?
I guess I was early 20s. I was at university in Canberra, and a friend of mine who I've known since I was born was chasing me to come and play. I had played netball with her. Her name's Helen. She's a dear friend, and I ended up getting to the stage where I'd hide from her when I saw her coming down the uni hall, because she kept begging me to come and play because she knew I would love it. And I was too busy doing other things, mainly trying to get a degree and save some money so I could travel. But yeah, Helen got me to my first game, and I never ever missed a game for the next probably 12 years.
Well, then, of course, you went on to make your debut for the women's national side, which I believe was also the Wallaroo's first ever international test match against New Zealand back in 1994. What did that feel like?
It felt very different to how it feels today. So the 2nd of September is an anniversary that's coming up for me personally this week. North Sydney Oval on the 2nd of September was a huge day for women in our country, huge day for the New Zealand ladies that came across the ditch and ran over the top of us. Look, there was probably 100 people in the crowd. Mm-hmm. Those people were our families, a couple of dogs, maybe a few sheeps and a few roos as well. But to be at Salford on Friday night and to see that stadium, I don't know, Tom, it's goosebump material. Mm. It's kind of surreal. There's no comparison to what happened to me on my first international test match and what I witnessed on Friday night here in the UK.
In 1998, you were selected for the first ever Wallaroo's World Cup side, which was in the Netherlands. Take us back to the Netherlands. What was that like?
Oh, same. 4 years after that first international, we arrived in Amsterdam for the opening ceremony. There wouldn't have been more than 500 people at that event. There were some Dutch women there that were putting on an opening ceremony that I can't compare to what I saw on Friday night. There's absolutely something that feels like we were in preschool 30 years ago, and now we're on a professional platform with athletes that are being paid full-time contracts. We're progressing to a stage that I never ever thought I would see in my lifetime.
We're of course 30 years on now from when you, well, nearly 30 years on from that first World Cup. Of course, you appeared one more time in Barcelona in 2002. What progress did you see between those two tournaments? Was there progress?
I'd say there wasn't. Not for me in that national team. We went from Amsterdam. In between Amsterdam and Spain, there weren't many games for us to play. There was, because we live such a long way from the rest of the world, we had an international with New Zealand every year since '94, but we had very little international competition. So the Red Roses came with Joe Yapp as halfback in 2001, and we were terrified. Again, I can only relate to feeling like a preschool child and these monsters getting off the bus. They were built and we were terrified.
Libby's inspiring book, Wallaroo 19, is out now. You can get it on her website, on Amazon, and hopefully from your local library in Manchester very soon. Thanks so much for speaking to Full Volume today, and good luck with the rest of the tournament to the Wallaroos.
Okay, well, that's it for another month, another action-packed episode. Thank you for listening. Just before we go, Gary's back.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about what's coming up over the next 4 weeks or so across libraries. We'll start here at Central because there's so much happening in September. It's great to be back, I have to say. So kicking us off on the 4th of September, which is, what, next week now? Yeah, 4th, yeah. Japan Week, if you're a fan of Japan. I know Mike, our cleaner here, is a big fan of Japan, isn't he? He'll love this. Japan Week starts, and if you want to learn more about leading Japanese destinations from Expo 2025 in Osaka, as well as hidden gems that will inspire your next visit, then you need to pop in to Japan Week. There'll be workshops on here, and there'll be performances from Japanese artists, and you can give yourself a taste of Japanese culture right here in Manchester.
Oh, nice.
It's a free event. It's running from the 4th of September till the 8th, and it's free, so just drop in. Drop in if you're in town. So if you have any interest in Japan, this is where you need to be.
I've got an interest in the band Japan from the 1980s.
Yeah, David Sylvian, is that right? Yeah. Love a bit of Japan.
Right, so next up, I've got an event on September the 11th at Chorlton Library. The fantastic Jackie Kay, author, poet, playwright, She was the Macca of Scotland, which is the Scottish equivalent of the Poet Laureate. So it's a big name. It's a big deal. She's given a talk and a reading in Chorlton Library on September the 11th from 7 p.m. So she'll be reading from her work and sharing some captivating personal stories. So it's going to be really special, that I think. In the lovely surroundings of Chorlton. I can't stop tooting the horn for Chorlton because it's lovely, isn't it? It is, yeah. It is lovely. Really, really lovely. I got to spend a couple of days there during our little excursion when Central was closed. Okay, so you have another one, Gary, haven't you, before I do the Time Traveller? The following day, on the 12th of September, we've got an evening with Kathy Rikes. So this is in Central Library. It's free, but you have to book. And Kathy Rikes is a New York Times #1 best-selling author. It's a rare visit for her to the UK, and she's coming to celebrate 25 years of her best-selling series. And her books were the inspiration for the TV series Bones. I know Bones? That. Didn't that star one of the wasn't he in Buffy before he went in Bones? Yeah. Yes. What's his name? David Boreanaz. Yes, that's the one. So that's the one. So that's going to be really interesting. I've never read any of her stuff, but I did watch Bones, so that's going to be really fascinating. Super. She's a big deal in the literary world. Yeah. That's as much as I know. Okay, and then on the 13th of September, we have the Time Travellers Tea Room. So join Manchester Histories for Time Travellers Tea Room. It's a monthly gathering where they explore the personal stories, memories and everyday objects that shape Manchester's rich and diverse heritage. The relaxed sessions are open to anybody with an interest in the past, whether you're a lifelong Mancunian, whether you're new to the city, or you're simply curious about local history. Each session will offer a chance to share personal or family stories. You can bring in an object if you have something that you think other people are interested in. Please bring it with you. You'll be able to explore the history of the object, or maybe get some feedback from other people as well. You'll learn how to use the local archives. The archives here is brilliant, isn't it? It's just world class. And you'll be able to connect with others and discover shared experiences and contribute your ideas to future Manchester history projects. There will be tea and biscuits as well. So always a plus. Even if you're not into history, everybody's into biscuits. Okay, so come along, get a free biscuit. The sessions are free to attend. They're open to all. They are limited to 15 participants per booking, so please let us know. Just book in advance. You can book on librarylive.co.uk, so make sure you book yourself in, but please come along to that one. Yeah. So now this is very exciting. On the 4th of October, Central Library, it's the ABBA Over 50s party. And not that I won't be eligible for that, obviously, because I will never be 50. You like Mariah Carey, you just never age. So. Yeah. I mean, can we just talk about the fact that it's over 50s? Like, it's a bit cheeky. Don't they think people because I know lots of young people who love ABBA. Yeah, of course. They love ABBA. I'm always amazed. My niece, she's 25, obsessed with ABBA. So if she heard I was working at a place where there was an ABBA event on, but then I told her she was too young, she would not be happy. I don't think they'll be setting fire to you if you are under 50, because it says all over 50s and family and friends welcome. So, so maybe only one person in the group needs to be over 50. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it's there's a solo ABBA tribute act called One of Us. And they're going to be doing all the hits, Mamma Mia, Money, 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 Fernando, Super Trooper, etc., etc., etc. So that sounds like an hilarious way to spend it does. And if you like ABBA, I mean, you don't really care who's singing ABBA songs, do you? Because it's the songs, isn't it? Yeah. It's not so much about, hopefully the person can actually sing. And they are promising cake as well. So. I don't need any more excuse. I'll be there. I'll have to bring my ID though, see if they let me in. Listen, well, that's it for this month. Thank you, Gary, very much. We'll speak to you again next month. So that's it for September's edition of Full Volume. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely month.
Hello, my name is Brendan O'Shea and I'm the chair of Manchester Libraries Trust. If you've enjoyed listening to this episode and would like to support all the great activities taking place in Manchester Libraries, it's really easy to make a donation to Manchester Libraries Trust, the charity that supports lots of cultural, educational and archival activities. Just visit www.librarylive.co.uk or www.manchesterlibrarytrust.org and hit the donation button.